community group. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes. Start that over again, please, for me, please. Thank you.
All right, Dawn Walton from Philadelphia. I've worked with several community organizations. I also do training as far as in the community to train for, I'm a traveling GM. So I train people to open hotels, do jobs, and things of that nature.
Okay, okay, excellent. And so would that be in your area of expertise and interest as well?
Yeah, yes. So we could have meetings, and if we need places for meetings or hold a convention, I could be very instrumental in that.
Okay, all right, good, thanks, much appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, oh, okay, looks like we lost our other member that came in. Okay, all right, so I think the individual we have on the line now, we have had on the line before, so I'll just give a quick minute for folks to introduce themselves just for this call. So I want to go to caller at 9808.
Yes, Sister Dot.
All right.
So my name is Sister Dot, and I'm a member of the MWM. I'm also a tax professional to help those that need skill set in starting their business, organizing their business, and keeping their business in the goal and knowing about what they need to do. So that's what I do as professional. And I'm definitely a member of the MWF. Thank you.
All right, give thanks, much appreciated. Yeah, I'm most likely going to have to contact you after the call. I need to get some further insight into this tax situation. So I'll be contacting you later on. Give thanks. All right, with that
Not a problem. My number and my email up in the chat for you.
All right.
So anywhere.
Okay, and so I want to move on to Sister Kimberly. If you can unmute yourself, introduce yourself, let us know where you're calling in from, any group, entity, or organization that you're representing, and your area of expertise or interest.
Hi, I'm Kimberly Mathis calling from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Philly's in the house today. You know, I've been hanging out with Sister Filet ever since I officially had the honor of meeting her via phone. So, you know, I've embraced MWM for a while, since last year, I say. You know, I'm a licensed massage therapist, doula and wellness coach here in Philadelphia, also an advocate for community youth initiatives, working with various organizations, as I mentioned before. Here in Philadelphia, it's all about, for me, home ownership for our people, as well as building that family bond back, because we've kind of lost it. Philadelphia is completely out of control, out of control. And we need I have never experienced what I've experienced here, what's going on in our little city of brotherly love. So we got to all band together. The violence is beyond imagine. I just am just overwhelmed. So here in Philadelphia, Dawn, we got a bond, girl, because I know for a fact, because I'm going to put my information up for anybody in Philadelphia. We need all the help we can get, and I'm not going to stay on too long, but it is about that unity.
Yes, indeed.
I'm out.
All right. Good, thanks, much appreciated. Okay. With that being said, I want to move on to our next guest, Sister Trixie. If you can unmute yourself, you know, let us know where you're calling in from, any group, entity, organization that you're representing, and your area of expertise or interest.
Good morning, everyone. My name's Trixie, and I am out here in Arizona. I do a little bit of everything from tutoring to research and digital exhibits. The last 2 weeks, I decided to add project management. As Sister Filet knows, I've been managing a lot of stuff going on right now. I think every week I come in, it's a new thing that I get to add to my list, a new role I've been given. So I deal a lot with teaching, education, and getting our story out there. So wherever you need me, I put my contact information inside the chat. Make sure you send a text message so I don't block you thinking you're a scammer wanting to sell me medical insurance. I get those from all over the place, especially Pennsylvania. I don't know why I get so many of those scammers with that area code. So just send me a message and with your name, and I will get back to you. Let's see what we can do together.
All right, much appreciated. Okay, and I am your host. I'm Brother Lumumba Uncaged. I am a member of the Serious Brothers in support of the Million Women March, also of the Men of Valor Action Committee, which is what I entitle a mentorship program. So it's an infusion of the Rites of Passage program, as well as dealing with components of culture and history and the rearing and raising of young Black boys into men, and the fellowshipping of Black men, and building and uniting and organizing towards helping rebuild our nation and our people. All right, so I want to thank you for joining us this afternoon. I see we have a hand raised up. I'm not sure if that's on purpose or by accident. Sister Dottie, is your hand raised?
No, it was by accident.
Okay, give thanks. All right, no problem. Okay, so are we ready?
Yep,
for
we
the
are ready.
presentation?
We are ready. We've waited long enough, and so now we're going to move forward. Again, welcome everyone to this session of the coordination information for the upcoming Million Woman World March. And before we begin, I just want to share a few words. And let's see if anyone knows. Oops, hold on 1 minute. Let's see if anyone knows who this is. I'm getting ready to play for you. It's very brief, but very poignant, very much on point. So let's see what he has to say.
Disrespected person in America is the Black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the Black woman. The most neglected person in America is the Black woman. And as Muslims, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us to respect our women and to protect our women. And the only time a Muslim really gets real violence is when someone goes to molest his woman. We will kill you for our woman. I'm making it plain, yes. We will kill you for our woman. We believe that if the white man will do whatever is necessary to see that his woman gets respect and protection, then you and I will never be recognized as men until we stand up like men and place the same penalty over the head of anyone who puts his filthy hands out to put in the direction of our women.
Okay. I'm sure you do, but can anyone tell us who that was or who it is?
Malcolm X,
Absolutely.
1962.
Absolutely. Okay, so I played that for a very particular reason. And even though he makes reference to Muslim and so forth. The bottom line and the main premise that we're looking at is the fact that he says the most unprotected, the most disrespected entity in America is the Black woman. So for him to say that as a Black man, it speaks volumes. And so I wanted to start off with that today, because one of the things that we are focusing on doing is making certain that this kind of behavior discontinues, meaning the disrespect, the disregard for the Black woman here, not only in America, but worldwide. So I'm going to open up the floor while I prepare the presentation for today. I misplaced my flash drive, so I'm trying to get that up and running for you. But I want to open up the floor with a question, which is, why are we here? And what I mean by that is, those of you who are familiar with the Million Woman March, and now you know about the universal movements, the question is, what do you think our mission is? And what do you think it should be? And again, how is that in reference to the disrespect of the Black woman that we also say is the mother of civilization? So you can jump in. Again, the question is, why are we here? In other words, we want to make sure that folks are on a similar or same page. Why are we now getting ready to host and convene the Million Woman World March? And how is that in reference to, or how is that related to, the disrespect, the disregard of the Black woman? The floor is open. You have to unmute. Okay, are you telling me no one has a response? There we are.
I do have a response.
Okay.
My whole outlook of how we got here went back to a thing my grandmother and my aunts used to tell me. And they were saying to me that the woman upholds the morals of a race. If the woman drops the morals of a race, the race is doomed. That's what they were saying to me. And they were talking about our behaviors of just going, because they didn't like the fact that, when we were coming up, clubs were just happening and bars were just happening. And we used to go out to the bars and the clubs, and they used to sit me down and they said, you are following a trend where you are not making the man responsible to the woman. You're going to the man instead of the man coming to the woman. So it's a dropping of respect, morals, and the way we should be carrying ourselves. And my cousins and I, we laughed at her, oh, you're old fashioned. And they told us that would happen if the Black woman, which is the most universal and the mother of creation, dropped her morals.
All right. Anyone want to add to? Thank you, Sister Dawn. Anyone want to add to that?
Yeah, this is David Murphy, just jumping in, just coming on. Sorry for being late. A lot on the plate. But based on what I hear you saying, as we know, there's quite a few systematic reasons why there's such disrespect for women, Black women. But I can only go back in my time. Everything else is pretty much, some people have done research on, but in my lifetime, I recall back in the day where they would separate the men from the family and the women from the family, for those who was on what they call social services and things like that. And then they had it so that a man couldn't live with a woman if they were receiving benefits. And one of the greatest disrespect that I ever saw in my lifetime to women was that they use women in so many different ways to harm us as a people. They passed their laws, as I say, because they wasn't out their laws, but they had it so that they had what they called quotas during that time. And they were hard women and wouldn't hard the black men. And so they said they was killing two birds with one stone. They were getting a woman as well as a black person. And so they, and so they would call themselves meeting their quote. But when the women did get into those positions, in which they exceeded, because women exceeded just about everything they, get involved with, but they were demeanored, downgraded, trained people that end up being their bosses or foremen or supervisors, and they always use the women because, like I say, they rape. I mean, just there's so much atrocities. How they use women and always, not just black women, but men had used women as what they call second-class citizens and stuff like that. And so it's just been since I've known society to be, society has always used women for many reasons, and it was very, very far as I'm concerned, disrespectful, and it still goes on to this day. But one thing I do want to say, in spite of everything that women has been through, they still standing tall, they still standing strong, they still standing in the gap, especially if they standing up for men now, when men should have been standing up for our women. And but society has a lot to do with that, but then we have been indoctrinated in so many different ways. But that's why I'm involved with this organization, is because my mission is uplift Black people. And of course, Black people is Black women, and to lift us all up. And we got a battle ahead of us, and it takes every man, woman, and child. And so, yes, there's continuation of disrespect, but I'm a person who believes that one person can change things, and it's evidence what we're doing on this call right now. One woman stood up, and million women responded. So if one woman can do this, can you imagine what a multitude of women and men could do? That's why I say I believe that things are possible if we put our hearts and minds into something, and all things are possible. Back to you, sister.
All right. Thank you, Brother David. Okay, anyone else before we move on to the next segment? And I just want to kind of sidebar for one moment, and it is this. We are going to look at the kind of present in terms of what some of our dilemmas are and why they are, but we're going to also look at the past. And in looking at the past, we're going to look at the past 100 years, but also the past 400 plus years. And the reason why we're going to do this is because a lot has happened in these past 400 years. However, look at where we're at today. And it's not to say we haven't made progress, because we certainly have compared to some other things. But the question and the fact also has to be, is it what it should be? And if not, why? So as we talk and examine some of the problems, and Brother David is definitely on point. However, listen very carefully, because in answering the question, why is the Black woman disrespected? Brother David just gave us some more kind of present or modern day things that have happened. But we are going to make certain that we go to the basic root and fundamentals of some things. Because if we do not do that, we'll continue to do what has been happening, which is to kind of put a Band-Aid on some of the problems, which is why it continues to fester. Once the Band-Aid is no longer able to hold it together, we still end up with a sore. And so our position is, we want to get to the nitty-gritty. We want to get to the root of it. We want to eradicate the cancer, the illness that has really caused whatever it is we think is the problem. And until we do that and say that, and that's why I wanted to open up with Brother Malcolm, because he's a perfect example of not only speaking truth to power, but doing the kinds of things, or at least attempting to do the kinds of things that would bring about certain types of solutions. And unfortunately, like many of our people, he was cut down, shot down in his prime before he was able to bring things into fruition. Well, the Million Woman March, interestingly enough, is kind of similar in that once the enemy saw what our mission is, not just what they thought it is or was, it was an effort to shut it down. And so we've been infiltrated over the years. We've been pushed to the side and a lot of other things. But we have to show the example that what we're now doing is the continuation of those who have come before us. And with this being Black History Month, certainly we had to look at the 1950s and 60s. Look at those struggles here in America. So for us to think that what we're now doing is going to be easy, well, it will be to some degree because we have technology and we got Brother David to help us with that. But the fact is, what we're now doing has never been done before. So you need to keep it in that context. Anything that has never been done before is going to have some kind of complication. So I'm going to open the floor back up. I found my flash drive. I'm getting the presentation ready. And so again, want to go to us being on a similar or same page. Again, we're open to whatever religion, faith, political ideas, economic status, education, all of that or any of that is applicable. But we are going to stay very focused on some very key things in terms of the mission. So with that said, I'm going to open up the floor again. And one of the things that we've talked about in the past is health, economics / finance, wealth building, education, injustice. These are the primary focuses. So I'm going to open the floor back up once again, and again, have you to share with us what you want to see us now do and accomplish based on dealing with some of the issues that we have all talked about. The floor is open.
Okay, can you repeat that question, the actual question one more time?
Okay, where do you want to see us go? Or shall I say, what do you want to see us accomplish? What types of things do you feel are primary for us to look at in terms of goals and objectives that we want to now address and literally make some accomplishments with?
Okay, if I could, I just want to go back really quickly and just address the last question.
Okay.
Okay, I wanted to chime in on that really quickly. And so I can't remember exactly who the quote was from, but the quote, paraphrasing, is no society can rise higher than that of its woman, right? And so the mother, right, also the mother of civilization. So looking at the microcosm and looking at the macrocosm, right? The mother in the family is usually the one who initially is rearing and raising the children. So if you want to affect an entire family, as far as the offspring, you eliminate the mother, right? And that way, or you influence the mother or you control the mother in such a manner where they do your bidding. So they program and indoctrinate the children according to whatever that oppressive or power and control is dictating, right? So in order to control the minds of the children and the offspring of future generations, you know, it is one of the aims and means to destroy the mind, body, and spirit of the woman, of the Black woman, in order to so that they can feed that to the children, and the children also be in dismay. Initially, you know, the attack was on the Black man, and eliminating the Black man from the household, therefore eliminating the protection of the Black woman and the Black family. And so then they were able to infiltrate and come in and then attack the Black woman, and then in turn attack the Black children. And so this is the main reasons, in my opinion, why the Black woman is the most unprotected and disrespected, because it is known by the powers that be that they are the ones, for the main part, that are in control or in the rearing and raising of future generations to come. So not only do you eliminate that generation, you eliminate the problem possibilities of future generations as well.
Okay.
And I see we have a hand raised as well. So Sister Trixie, you had a comment?
I do, and I wanted to elaborate on what she said and what the other speaker said before you. I take it further back, as far back as from the beginning, from the time we landed on. You mentioned removing the Black man, the protector, and that initially it was to attack the Black man and then get to the woman. But I think it was always to attack the woman from the beginning. When I look at the fact that coming from Africa, we worked together as a unit. We had, different tribes in Africa that had women warriors and women, hunters and women leaders and queens who ruled. And then we come over here and we put women as second-class citizens instead of working all together. They changed our religion, and with that, they changed the dynamic of the family. And the idea was to turn the Black man against the woman, because in doing so, they could control the woman, control the future generations, as you said. So I see the issue being, it comes from so many different angles. If you can tell the Black man or any man of any, group, that if you want to be successful or if you want to take care of your household, you need to control your woman in this way, and by this religious book and by this standard of government, you need to put them as second-class citizens. They're not allowed to work. They're not allowed to be educated. They're not allowed to be ahead of you or equal to you. Then you have Black men who are demeaning, they're oppressing their own women. And then the goal was, once the Black man was able to do that, then it was easy for the government to come in and just remove the Black man from the whole entire family situation. Our prison system, the whole, ordeal of just removing the Black men. What you're left with is Black women who have no education, Black women who have no skills, Black women who have no experience in the workforce, but have a whole bunch of children that they now have to raise. Their only choice is to now depend on the government, who is now coming in, taking Black children out of the home, removing Black women for this reason and that women, not allowing Black men back into the home. Now that they, infiltrated, they're not allowing Black men back into the home. If the Black woman wants to get, as Brother David said, benefits to raise these children of theirs. So it's a whole entire systematic issue that began way from the beginning. As someone just pointed out, they took women out of religious books. It was planned from the beginning. So the solution in my head is to educate, educate Black men, especially. Women have to rewrite that narrative that's been rewritten, that's been centered around this Eurocentric male narrative. We need to reteach our children, because, when women are now forced to work and do all the work, they're forced to put their children into schooling that refuses to teach our history, refuses to teach the truth. and so indoctrinates them in a whole entire different, historical narrative. So I just feel that our mission here is to remind women of who they are and their rightful place and the role that they play in society and the Black community within their families, and to help men understand that role and to help them see how the system has turned them against, how things have switched everything backwards, and so that we can, as a couple, as a unit, male, female, help make that change in narrative that we can pass down to future generations. And of course, at this moment, it starts with children, and it starts with the women, like you said, brother, because we're the ones who are raising them a lot of the time singly because of the way the system is set up. So I just believe that that's our mission, educating and rewriting this narrative that's been written for us, and bringing back the truth. That's all I got to say.
All right.
I also wanted to add really quick, because Trixie, you touched on that. I'm sitting here getting filled up with everybody. What you all said is so empowering. And I have to share that this is about the abuse. And the women, the young women and older women that I'm helping to mentor from ages 14 to 45, there is a major problem with self-image. Self-image. They are not understanding love within a relationship as a couple. You hit right on that, Trixie. Just today, I had an elder that's mentoring a young woman in Cincinnati who the man and herself, it's not just the man, it's both of them as a couple. They're fighting. He's beating her, she's beating him, to the point where the sheriffs had to come in and take the children. Like you said, Trixie, there you go. Children back in the system. And all she sees, she now attacks the elder that's trying to help her and totals her car. Because now that abuse, anger is now geared back at the elder that's trying to help her. We have to get it together in terms of that self-image, in terms of the mindset, physically, mentally, spiritually, for the future. They're not educated in the past. They're not educated at all in terms of their history, as far back as ancestral, straight through to our leaders of civil rights. They're not educated in any of that and don't want to know any of that. So we have to figure out a way on how we're going to educate this, because we have to bring that healing from ancestry straight out to the present. It's a lot of work.
Wow.
It's a lot of work.
Wow, Sister Kim, I thank you so much. You hit so many points there, and you're absolutely on point with it all. I'm raising these questions and issues to everyone, family, because, as the sister just said, we got a lot of work ahead of us. And I want folks to realize that the Million Woman World March is not just an event. That's what people thought in '97, that the Million Woman March was an event. And they were right, it was. But it was much more than that. That's why we're here today. It's not like, oh, we stopped and came back. We never stopped. We continued to do this work for 2 decades, and we can show that with receipts. We've done it also independently, without corporate monies, without grants, all of that. And so it had to go through that process in order to do what Sister Kimberly just said, which is bringing forward the tradition, the mission, the vision of our ancestors. To do that, you've got to do something really different. And we're going to get into sessions that go more in depth with that. But Brother Lumumba, it's saying that you have disabled, or that I'm disabled from providing a presentation. So you need to go into the controls so that I'm able to do the the sharing, because it's saying that I can't do it. It's been disabled. While we're waiting for that, I think Sister Naya just came in from Cameroon. And I was really waiting because Brother David and I and Brother Lumumba, we had a meeting the other evening, and we're getting ready, family, to start working on one of our first ventures, which is going to establish the kind of economic or revenue streams that we need. And thankful for our Brother David. We are, gearing up and getting ready for that, which I'm going to tell you a little bit about in a few moments. In the meantime, while I'm still getting set up for the presentation, we want sisters to know that for the April edition of the Black Unity News paper, we are going to make sure that we have a full page in there featuring Black women's ads for your businesses. So we're going to tell you about that shortly. And then the next edition after that, it'll be a special for Black businesses that are connecting to the Million Woman March and its world movement. The next edition will be featuring those ads or those businesses. So again, we'll tell you more about that shortly. But I want to go back to you all for a moment while I'm still getting this presentation set up. I'll check to see if I'm able to do so. But again, if there's any further comment on what we're talking about, someone mentioned we have to educate in order to move some things forward. Well, again, many things that you are hearing is what many people have been saying. So I'm saying these things because our mission has to now be to provide some solutions, or at least potential solutions. So again, how are we going to educate if we don't have the facilities or the apparatuses to do so? So therein is one of our main missions, to make certain that we have the kind of mechanism that can educate our people, our children in particular, and our people in general. So these are some of the objectives that we have to look at, making certain that we have brick and mortar as well as virtual capability to provide ongoing education. So now, when one asks, what is the Million Woman World March about? Education. What is the Million Woman World March about? Economic, finance, and wealth building. These are some of the things that we're getting ready to now put in a structural formation for folks to be able to see and participate in. So again, we're going to open the floor back up. I think Sister Manira just joined us. So we're going to open the floor back up. And again, if there's any other comments or responses in terms of looking at our mission, looking at our goals and objectives. What are your thoughts, family?
Yeah, this is David Murphy again. And I always say to myself, I'm always a student. I'm always trying to learn something. And I was raised up a certain kind of way, and it was very disrespectful to women. The way the older guys taught us. And they used to have all kinds of sayings, like one thing, I used to, y'all probably heard this before, men are from Venus, women from Mars, and stuff like this.
Right.
We think on different levels and different kinds of ways. And my father used to tell me stuff like this, David, don't try to understand women because they just go here, there, and everywhere, and you could never even reason with them. And so these are the type of things we was inbred with. But I come to learn as I got older. You ask questions. And so this is the question, just out of curiosity, because I really want to know, what do women want? What do they need? And what do they expect?
All right. I love it. All right. The floor is open, sisters. A brother has asked a very clear and poignant question. And guess what? As a unit, as a cadre, as a collective, we're getting ready to issue some answers. And this is again why we are coming together as a sisterhood, so that we can say to our brothers, to our Black men, this is what we want and this is what we need. So sisters, the floor is open. Brother David just asked the question, and to put it simply, what do we want?
You know what, brother? That King, I'm gonna tell you, that was the question. And what we need, I'm not quite sure what we need. It is so much that we have not stepped up to the plate and gained what we need. I'm not quite sure what we need. I know what we want, really not quite too sure of that right now, because that's vast. It's just so much that we should be doing as women, and so much we need to do as women. So that question, I'm going to reach out to my sisters to help me with that one, because that was the question of questions. Thank you so much for that one.
Okay. So if I can chime in real quick, and then we're going to go to someone else. Sister Kimberly, I love you and I thank you, but I have to say this. If we don't know at this stage of the game what we need, we are really in trouble. I mean, we're in trouble, but we are in bigger trouble than I thought.
Well, I would say a partner, protector, provider, and a nurturer.
Okay. Thank you, Sister Dawn.
You're welcome.
Anyone else?
Really quickly, if I may, I just wanted to, before we go into the next question, I just wanted to circle back around really quickly and just clarify some of my other statements. When I was saying before that the initial attack was on the Black man, I was talking about methodically and systematically. And as, other women were stating, the fact that Black men were pit against Black women, the fact that Black men were taken out of the households. So, there's an initial inert energy within men and within Black men as protectors, as providers, and so forth. And once that was removed, it allowed for others to come in and to exact what they wanted to. So when I was speaking on that, as of course, it was an attack on the entire family, but systematically, they had to eliminate the protection, that is natural and inert, and that provision, because once Black men, coming up from slavery, once they were not able to provide or protect any longer, then it became an air and a spirit of inadequacy. And see, a lot of Black men are still dealing with that today. And so that's one of the main things I wanted to address as a Black man, and to charge other Black men with that task of stepping back into those roles, because it is sorely and desperately needed, right? And as far as the macrocosm I was speaking of course, Black women are the mothers of civilization. They birth nations, literally. And so that is their rightful place and position, which they need to be exalted back into. And it is partly of the Black man's responsibility to make sure that they are put back in their proper place and context. And that goes into the narrative, so on and so forth. Within the Men of Valor Action Committee, one of the main things that we profess and teach is the changing of narratives. So removing ourselves from the aspect of, being pimps, being pushers, being thugs, and that being the definition of being a man, and back into the provider, to the protector, and to the pillar of the community and of the family, right? And so, into the kings, right? But also to change the narrative in our own minds of Black women, because that's still in part of our responsibility. It's in part of Black women, of course, to model themselves in a certain way. But regardless, Black men should hold Black women to a certain regard, regardless, knowing the history, knowing that they are the mother of civilizations. So, we don't disrespect ourselves, and we don't disrespect them either. Okay. So that is in part of what the responsibility is, right? And so I just wanted to just clarify that position as far as, so within that is combating the narrative of Black women being, bees, hoes, and then this whole thing about, us being disconnected. So, it's really in tandem, it's yin and yang. And so once Black men come to that realization, they can help and step back into the role to assist in putting Black women back in their rightful place and position. Give thanks.
And I also wanted to say real quick, the question is that question is powerful, what was put on the table. Now, of course, we want our men to be partners, protectors, and providers. But as the brother just said, I'm real confused and concerned with the women I'm mentoring, where the word bitch is a term of endearment. Now I'm gonna go there.
Right.
Where the word, that's a term of endearment. Or hoe is to come here, hoe, and they turn and they answer, yes, here I come. That's where I'm at, where I say that I don't think that we as women know what we want. Now, sister, we know what we want. We want a provider, as Dawn said, and we want a protector and a partner. But these young women out here, I am concerned. That's where I was at. And I just wanted to bring rectification to that, and I'm off. Right?
Okay, got you. Okay, so obviously,
we had a couple of hands up also.
Oh, okay. I just want to respond to that real quick. Obviously, since that's one of the problems that we clearly have identified, that many of our women and young girls have a certain mindset and are functioning in a certain kind of way. Once again, the Million Woman World March is to help do what? To change that. How can you do that? You can do that by being organized, consistent, having an agenda, and the capability to execute it. So while we talk about here's the problem, what MWM is talking about and doing is bringing forward some possible solutions. The floor is open.
All right, with that being said, I want to go over to our sister Munira. We'll allow you to have the floor. You haven't spoken yet. And then I want to go over to Sister Trixie after that.
My Hotep, everyone.
My Hotep.
So, being a sister with all brothers. Oh, I got 6 brothers. And what I think is that we need reciprocity. We need to be treated the way we treat you, plain and simple. We love our brothers, and I love all my brothers. And I was mainly like the protector. We was like protectors of each other. We need that. We need, to provide for each other. It's just like mutual understanding and relationship, and we also need, men to be maintainers and the keepers of our families, of our women, even though we know that women have degenerated, and they not only degenerating on their own, because you have men out here in the society that they like that dot lifestyle, and they buy into it, and that's what keep the cycle going, is because it's like it's like sex sell. It's like all this stuff, as far as women, parading around. Men are buying into that. We need men to honor women, respect women, show them, teach them, educate them, just like as if we protect each other and teach each other. So it's about reciprocity to me. It's like do unto each other as we do unto, as you have someone do unto you. And that's what we need. We just need that mutual relationship and understanding, and protect each other, because not only should the brothers protect us, but we protect our brothers. You know, we build for each other. We, you know, help each other, empower each other. We teach each other. We help cultivate each other. So it goes both ways. But, you know, these are supposed to be the roles of our brothers, to be the protectors, the maintainers, the keepers, the builders, and all that of our community. But we need to do it all together as one. Like, it should be a mutual type of thing.
I'll say.
And that's what I yield to say. That's what I have to say in terms of what do we need? We need the reciprocity.
Yes, and if you could also, I don't believe you got the opportunity, if you could just introduce yourself briefly, let everyone know where you're calling in from, any group, organization, entity that's representing, and your area of expertise or interest, please. Give thanks.
Well, I'm Munir Boumani, and I'm the New Jersey Regional Coordinator for the Million Woman Now World Movement, Black Women Defense League. I am the lead organizer here. I'm an organizer. I'm an advocate. I'm a tradeswoman. I'm an entrepreneur, business development. And these are the expertise that I do, is basically trying to connect the dots with like-minded people who's ready to, you know, stop talking, let's talk, and action. So that's what I do. And I'm from Newark, New Jersey. From Newark, New Jersey.
All right, I say give thanks. And the name of your business is it Black Women Build?
Well, it's Women Build 2 Education and Trades Foundation.
Okay.
So what I do is I'm paying it forward, giving back. You know, I returned home 26 years and giving back, you know, trying to help women who are interested in non-traditional skills. So I'm a CDL driver, started my own hauling company, which is called Queendom Express Carrier. You know, hauling and hauling, and women, you know, cannot set limitations on their lives. We can do various different things in construction, and as well as driving and hauling and stuff. So that's what I give back, paying it forward to the women who are returning home and out of traumatic situations and coming off of the system, welfare, you know, welfare to empowerment, from prison to empowerment, self-development, self-empowerment. And that's what I'm offering the women to you know, partake in self-empowerment, because, you know, we have to do things on our own. We have to empower ourselves. So that's what I do in terms of helping women and sisters coming home out of prison and out of traumatic and off welfare and all these different systematic things that they got us bind into.
All right. Give thanks. Much appreciated. I say for
Give
that.
thanks.
Yeah, I wanted you to highlight that as well, because I wanted to just let everyone know that we're not just following, you know, quote unquote societal, westernized, homogenized gender norms and standards, right? And so I just want to make sure that I highlighted that to, you know, let folks know that we do have and encourage, you know, women in all walks of life, you know, truck driving, construction, so on and so forth. And so just to highlight the fact that we have to differentiate our definitions of manhood and womanhood and our role and gender roles and responsibilities in comparison to the westernized, homogenized versions that we have today. Because traditionally in our, you know, historically in our societies, we didn't have any issues with women and men sharing different roles and responsibilities. So I just wanted to highlight that, give thanks. And so I just want to move on to our sister Trixie. You had your hand up. I want to allow you to have the floor.
Thank you. Sorry, I was kicked out of the group for a second there. So I believe the question was, what do we want from Black men? Am I correct on that? Was that
Yes.
one of the questions?
Well, just from Black men, but in general as well. What do you want, need, and expect?
Oh, that's so much to dive into.
Pretty broad.
Where you want me to start, right? So, so one of my, I'm listening to everyone since I've come back, and I'm hearing the younger generation women and how they call themselves the B word, and the older generation, and it's all over the place. And I guess what I'm wanting is for everyone to focus on themselves and start healing themselves and educating themselves and taking care of themselves. Because I've noticed that we tend to look at the younger generation and say, you guys are an issue. There's something wrong with you. Look at the way you're dressed and look at the way you're acting. And, my generation didn't do this. But the truth of the matter is your generation is the one that brought this generation in. So you did something wrong. If this is the way, if they're acting out so wildly from what you expected. And I feel what it is how can broken people, how can a broken family teach the next generation? You're just teaching them the same systematic issues that we've all been dealing with. So everything just keeps on. We're teaching the same thing over and over and over again because we're already broken. So we're teaching the next generation this untruth, this narrative. And like you said before, we didn't have these gender roles. All of this is new. This is all introduced to us. So we're teaching what we've been taught, and we're expecting the next generation to behave a certain way. But I'm looking at the next generation that's pretty up there in education, who's looking back at our old history, at our ancient history, saying, this isn't the way, this isn't the way it was supposed to be. This isn't what my mom told me. This isn't what my grandmother told me. This whole entire gender thing, it doesn't make sense to what's going on and what was going on beforehand. And so I think we need to really look at ourselves, and when we're looking at men and women, I'm sick of hearing the whole, what is it, sus, all over the place. When it comes down to men, oh, look at him holding his baby, that's sus. Look at him playing the role of mommy. He's out of his manhood, emasculated, the whole 9 yards. And it just gets on my nerves because it just makes no sense to me. Even my father brings it up. He's soft. Don't come up here hugging me. Don't come up here hugging me. That's soft. I want men to work on their mental and emotional health, and let go of that, Eurocentric of what it means to be a man, so that we could start working together emotionally and mentally and spiritually, working together. We all need to stop nitpicking and insulting and that's not the way it was supposed to be. And I said, I was raised this way, and I beat my kids and they came out fine. And if everyone else beat their kids, they come out fine, because, some of the things that we did and learned in our, our years weren't right to begin with. And we need to realize that and start breaking that cycle and making that change. So as a Black woman, that's what I want to see. I want to see Black women not attacking other Black women. I want to see Black women not attacking men not attacking, Black women. I want to see us all sitting back and realizing that this is the game, that we were all set up to attack each other and tear each other down and break the system and break the unity and break the family and break the community. And we need to put a stop to it. And so that's what I want to see. And I want to really see mental health come into the picture, mental and emotional health come into the picture. And that's all I got to say again.
Can I jump in 1 minute? 1 minute. No, because, I recall years ago here in Baltimore, it was a church called New Psalms, which was one of the largest churches in the city. And I happened to be the vice president of the singles ministry, which was the largest auxiliary in the church. We had about 400 members. And every weekend we would have these functions. It was like everybody would bring plates and stuff. Then we would have these great discussions on men and women issues. And to keep it anonymous, we would use like a hat or something, and people put questions in there, what was on their heart about men issues or women issues, and then we would have these great discussions. And sometimes it got extremely heated, because everybody has an opinion about this or that. But one thing that did happen out of that, there was a great understanding, because women were sharing their innermost thoughts with men and vice versa. See, some things we guard ourselves on, because we appeared to be weak, like the young lady just said, or soft or something. And of course, Black men have been brought up to hide our emotions straight up. We don't cry, we don't do this, we don't feel, and so we have a lot of, like the young lady just said, we were taught wrong. But there's something that deep inside every individual. And my father said one real wise thing to me one time. He told me this. He said, son, if you want a good woman, you have to be a good man. And that hit home to me, because how can I expect somebody else to do this and do that if I'm not expected to do it myself? And so only thing I'm suggesting to you on this is that, because of what we are doing right this moment, it's, sometimes men and women, because one shoe don't fit all. Everybody has different wants and needs and expectations. But one thing is clear, communication is powerful. If you open up, and that's one of the reasons why I asked that question, because sometimes men really need to know, what do you want? Because one woman would say this, another woman would say that, and then we in a state of confusion, and that's vice versa, not just men, on women too. And so again, I don't think one shoe will fit all, but one thing is, like you say, love, respect. Love and respect yourself first. And then you can go outward. Because you can't expect from nobody else what you want and not willing to give yourself. Back to you.
All right. I say, give thanks. Yes. Love thyself, know thyself, to thy own self be true. So, once we get to relearn ourselves, to shed, our ideology that was pushed on us by our oppressors, began to go back in history, began to relearn ourselves, our culture and our history and our traditions, then we can begin to reinfuse that into our lives, into our families, into our societies. So I think that's of the utmost importance. And, as you were stating, good brother, recognizing, okay, what is a man, right? And we get into this with the men of valor. What does it mean to be a man? What does it mean to be a good man, right? What does it mean to be a good, or what we call a serious Black man, right? And vice versa with women, right? Because we have to reestablish these standards. And so we have something to aim towards. So give thanks and appreciation for that. With that being said, do we want to get into our presentation, or do we have some more time for the open dialogue?
Yeah, we have time for open dialogue, but I also wanted to do this as an assignment, because I see right now we need to start dealing with what we call kazi, which means work. And so I'd like to start having our folks to really contribute not only to the dialogue, but into some of the structural pieces as well. So with that said, I would like everyone to please put into the chat 1 or 2 or 3 words. I think Brother David just hit on it pretty well in terms of what we want. And so it could be in terms of yourself, it could be as a people, or in general. So Brother David said love, respect, and I think honor. So I appreciate if you all would take the time to put in 1 to 3 words that says just that. Those things that we want, you want. And you can put a little symbol next to it if you want, meaning if it says love, you can put what you want. You can put a U or a Y or a W, what you want, what we want. So please take the time to do that, because what I'm actually doing as we proceed is to structure some kinds of things for forums, upcoming forums that'll be, very direct, and people can go directly to the forum for this. This is the process that we're taking the time to develop. So again, I'd appreciate if you put in the chat 1 to 3 words of what we want or what you want. Thank you. And so, yes, Brother Moon, we can continue to dialogue.
All right. Give thanks. So I see we did have a couple more members that came into the room. So I want to give opportunity for those who have not to introduce themselves for this meeting. I think we have one new member in today as well. So I'm going to give them an opportunity to come in and introduce themselves. So first I want to go to Sister Felicia. If you could introduce yourself, let us know where you're calling in from, any group and organization or entity that you're representing, and any area of interest or expertise that you may have. That's Sister Felicia Singleton. If you could unmute yourself, just let us know where you're calling in from, any group, organization, or entity representing, and any area of expertise or interest. Okay, so while I'm waiting for Sister Felicia, I'm going to come around to Sister Naya. If you could just, of course, Sister Naya has been with us on several meetings here, but I just wanted to give an opportunity once again to let her introduce herself. Just let us know, Sister, where you're calling in from, any group, entity, organization that you're representing, and any area of expertise or interest that you may have. Give thanks.
Hello.
Yes,
It's good
we have you, yes.
But with us it's good evening. We are 7:45 in Cameroon, 10:00 in the night. I'm happy to be here again this evening. I thank God for a Million Women March. I thank God for Sister Empress, the torchbearer of Million Women March. I'm so excited for the work she is doing. And I thank the men who are supporting us, because we cannot go without them. God was not foolish to create a man and a woman. We cannot succeed alone without the men, so we need them. We really need them. To go ahead to succeed, we must go with our men who will stand by our side. There's a thing in Cameroon, we say that behind a successful woman, there is a powerful man. And behind a successful man, there is a powerful woman. So I want to say that we need our men to stand beside us so that we can go together and succeed in our vision. The vision is by a woman, but she cannot succeed it without the man. We need the spirit of unity, because united we stand, divided we fall. Okay. We need the spirit of love. Love conquered all difficulties. When there is love, you will not be able to look at your brother or your sister. You will not look at his or her mistakes. You will always try to see how you can correct her and you forge ahead together. So that's my own contribution on what we need. My name is Naya Lekunze Selina. I am from Cameroon. I am a community worker. I work with the women of the grassroots to empower the women of the grassroots. We support the education of the girl child and the needy children. That's a battle we have been in for many, many, many years, and we are succeeding. Because the few that we are able to sponsor, they are children who are very obedient and they always succeed. They don't remain on the way. So that's what encourages us to continue to go ahead, no matter the little that we have, no matter the many children that we see, the ones that God directs us to do, to take care. We struggle with the minimal that we have, and we succeed with them. as they come out of school successful with their certificate and they are doing something that can help them. We thank God for that. I want to say that it's not easy to deal with the grassroots people, especially with the crisis that we have in Cameroon, but we are trying our best. Last month, we had a workshop that we trained 30 young women from the 6 divisions of Southwest to empower them on value chain agriculture. You know, agriculture does not grow just because people cannot work on the farm, but because we suffer a lot from poor harvest loss. So we are trying to teach farmers on how they can manage their products and they will not lose again. That is, they can process, they can package now, and then they keep and begin to look for a market. So that's what we call value chain agriculture. We are still planning, praying that if we have money, we'll be able to equip them with some machines that can help them. Gradually, we shall succeed. We shall reach where we have to reach to. Thank you, people, very much. My women are greeting you. I tried to share the link. It didn't go, so I don't know what is happening with my phone. I don't know. Thank you, people, very much. Thank you very much for listening from Cameroon. Cameroon is fine, only very hot. We have dry season, the places are very hot. Thank you very much.
All right.
God bless you.
Thank you. Give thanks for the sharing. All right. With that being said, I wanted to come back over to Sister Felicia. If your audio is okay, you could unmute yourself and introduce yourself to the family on Zoom.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Felicia Austin Singleton. I am a housing advocate in Newark, New Jersey. I was sent a link by Manera. And I just want to answer the question. We need support from our Black men. Our Black men have allowed people to come in, and sometimes it's other Black men that just come in and they don't respect women. They don't look at us the way we really need to be looked at. We're trying now to build back some terrible cities and states and countries. And we just seen men, be quiet. We seen men actually come in and tear our nation down.
Join the meeting.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, sister. That was somebody coming to the meeting.
Oh, okay. So it's like we just need support and to be heard. We've been sitting back, raising the kids, doing what we got to do, and now we look up and our cities are terrible. Our nation is terrible. So at the end of the day, what we need from men is support, to stand behind us, to help lead and guide us where we can see our communities come back. Thank you.
All right. Give thanks. Much appreciated. Okay, and I see we have a couple other people that have joined us. So I just want to give them opportunity to just introduce themselves briefly. And Sister Camus, if you could just introduce yourself briefly, let us know where you're calling in from, any group, organization, or entity you might be representing, and any area of expertise or interest that you may have. Give thanks.
Good evening, everyone. I'm happy to connect. It's true, it actually went off my memory because I am a housewife, a student, a worker. So I have to cook so many things this evening to put in the fridge. So it really just went off my memory. So I'm of the Chamo organization. We're interested in mental health and stress management. And a public health student researching on teachers' mental health and a teacher too by profession. So the stress is really rampant these days, especially in low-income countries where we have high rates of unemployment, the crisis, people are displaced, and there's just no money, no food. So the hustle is really much, and people are stressed up and they really don't know how to go about it. So our organization is actually out to put forward this concept of truth, empathy, equity, equality, justice, and peace, because we're suffering not because we don't have, we are poor, but we're actually rich, and we've been made to know that we are poor, and so we really have to sit up and see how we can handle all the situation without necessarily falling ill, how we can manage psychologically and be strong to go through and overcome all the difficulties we're all going through. Thank you, and I'm glad to have made it this evening. Thank you.
All right, give thanks once again, much appreciated. Okay, and also, I think last we had joining us, Brother Adrian. Good brother, if you could just introduce yourself, let us know where you're calling in from, any group, organization, or entity that you're representing, and any area of expertise or interest that you may have. Give thanks. If you could unmute yourself, Brother Adrian. Okay, while we're waiting.
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. I'm Brother Adrian out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I host the Community Defend the Internet radio program, which goes out through a platform called emediagc.com, where we have 4.7 million subscribers in the Gulf Coast region and growing. So I would encourage everybody to subscribe for free to emediagc.com. My area of expertise is communication and marketing, and I look forward to being part of the Million Women's March movement.
All right, give thanks. And if you could just put that information in the chat, that would be wonderful. Give thanks for that.
Yeah, I'm on the phone, so.
Oh, okay.
I could text it to Empress though.
Okay, all right, give thanks. All right, so, and any other individuals on the line, if you would like to share your information with the group, please feel free to put your information in the chat as well. All right, give thanks for that. So I just wanted to come back around and see if we had any more questions or comments for our one of our questions this evening, which is, what do Black women want, need, and expect?
So I just wanted to say that as a, proud member of the Million Woman March Now Universal Movement, my President General have created, cadres, have made the call out for brothers in support of the Million Woman Now Universal Movement. I just want to say to the brothers, who have joined and who are listening to our Zoom via Facebook, we need you. We want you. We're calling on you. At the sound of our voice, come forward. Come forward and build with a movement, build with the original Million Women's March Now Universal Movement, and let's help heal each other, protect each other, love each other, unite like never before. We need you, we want you, and we're calling on you. And it's the opportunity for us to come together and take action, because that's what this you know, the Zoom was for. This is what the call for us to assemble. Get involved. We here. We need you. Just join forces. And that's what I want to say. That's my comment.
All right.
Good, thanks.
Thanks. Give thanks. Much appreciated. Okay, looks like we're ready for our presentation. Oh, we have one more question or comment, Sister Campbell.
So concerning what the women need, what I can say is that for example, I'll talk from my local perspective, Africa and Cameroon in particular. Women, I think women still they still need to realize their potentials and to know that they are mothers of many nations, because many are still they still lack that self-esteem and their worth. So I think if women are made to know what they are worth and how to get out of it and how to engage the men, because I think just calling on the men sometimes, I think our actions will better call the men to support us. So if we are made to know what we are capable of doing, we can better call the men to support us through our actions. They will see a reason why they should support us. But if we don't really know who we are and what we can do, I don't think the men really see a need to give us that push. So I think African women, they are still lacking that inner voice to step out, and those actions that can attract the men to really see that, okay, they need to push these women forward for a particular reason and for a particular purpose. Thank you. That's just what I want to contribute.
All right, I say give thanks. Thanks for that. Much appreciated. Hey, I believe we are ready for our presentation.
Okay, for some reason it's saying screen sharing is paused. I'm not sure. Once again, when I tried to go to full screen, it did something else. I've got to come out of this now again. Shucks. All right, something has happened here. So yeah, it's not letting me do what I want it to do. While I'm trying to readjust this, I just want to do a little sidebar. What my sister just said was very important. And so hold on one moment, I'm trying to.
We do see your screen and it's being shared currently.
Okay, but it's not letting me go any further. I know what you're saying. I'm looking at it because I'm looking on two screens, but the actual screen that I'm working on, like for example, I just switched the slide and it didn't switch over.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe. I'm looking on two different screens.
Right. Maybe come out of it and then go back to the share again.
Right. Okay. So let me do that. Okay. All right. But before I do again, I want to say to what our sister just said. Let me just do this real quick. She hit on something that's really important, and that is once we demonstrate or show what it is that we are doing, this is going to encourage others to support. And so we do know that at this point, because as Sister Manira said, we've been asking for quite a while for certain things. And at this point in time, we're kind of not really going to be asking like we were. We're going to just kind of go ahead and do some things. We're still asking and hoping, but at the same time, we're no longer waiting. All right, so we just want to say that to our brothers, again, we thank you, as Sister Manira and others have said. And what we're asking our brothers now to do is make sure you bring another brother next week. We need for our brothers to now also bring in some other brothers. And so some of the things that our brothers can begin to do is some of the things that you have said, which is have discussions amongst yourselves about what is Black manhood? What is it that needs to happen now? So as you examine the past, look at the present, but also the future. So Black men need to do that. These things that we're talking about are strategic. Some of these things will come together at a given time, but there has to be different components that be put in place that have to deal with the specifics of certain things. And this is how we're organizing so that we can have longevity and consistency. So again, what we're saying to our brothers, Brother Adrian, Brother Lumumba, of course, Brother David, and as others are coming in, we need you to bring another Black man, another brother next week. And we want the sisters to do the same thing. But again, the brothers are going to be very important to what we're doing, as Sister Naya indicated. And as another sister said earlier, we want our brothers to protect us. Now, we know a lot has happened, but at the same time, we do know some things that are fundamentals. Most Black women feel real good about a Black man who is going to protect her or us. That's just a basic need, y'all. So with that said, we know that there's some fundamentals, there's some essentials that is just innate. We also have to also remember, though, we're in a state of war. So a lot of times fundamentals and essentials are not going to get met when you're in a state of war. We have to now be smart enough and strategic enough to take all of that in stride and combine it. And that's what we mean by being holistic. So essentially, on one hand, we're doing one thing, and on the other hand, we're doing something else. And it's all good because it completes a wholeness at the end of it, or at some point of it. So again, for our brothers, we ask that you bring at least one Black man, another brother, to the session next week that is of a similar or like mind. Sisters, we're going to ask you to do the same, but we want to make sure that our brothers know they have a very unique and distinct place in this movement. It is the sisters who are heading it up. Let's be real clear. And it is because if you look at the conditions of things now, certain things have got to now happen. Our sisters are one of our best kept weapons to fight all of our enemies at this time. And even though, as Brother David mentioned and others mentioned earlier, there's always been a way to try to separate the family and blah, blah, blah. As you notice what we're saying, we're not talking about separating. We're talking about strategic modes of operations that at some point will bring us all together as that family. But like in anything else, the plumber do the plumber work, the doctor do whatever doctor work, the educator or teacher do the teacher work. Well, right now, Black women have some Black women work to do. And we're identifying it and defining it as we see it, because it's that time to do so. But at some point, it will all come together. That is our purpose and mission. So again, I'm going to go back to the floor, Brother Lumumba. I just need to try to make a few more adjustments, and then we should be ready to go.
Okay, and also with the device that you're using to share screen, you might have to log off and come back on with that device.
Got you. Yeah, because it's frozen. I can't. It's not going anywhere. Okay, thank you.
Good, thanks.
And President General.
Yes, ma'am.
It's Sister Manera again. I want you to also give some clarity about, because I have had invited some brothers who came on the call. Mm-hmm. And I wanted you to touch on the fact that, just because it's a million woman movement, this movement is not a feminist movement.
Right.
This movement is not, we don't need brothers to come on and be in fear, because this is the architect, the founder is building for women. This is a movement for all of us, for our whole family, man, woman, and child.
That's right.
We want that to be clear. So don't get terrorized because of the fact that it's about million women coming together we building a nation. We building a nation for our whole family. So I just want you to, make that clear, as to say that, as you always say, that, this, so, because I had brothers come on and, I don't, there's no need for you to be intimidated. We have a cadre, we have a brotherhood, a brother cadre, especially for you, so don't be in fear, don't be intimidated, because this is a movement for women. We have components, and I yield to that.
And Sister Munir, I just want to say this, interestingly enough, unfortunately, some use that as an excuse, okay, because we've made it very clear that we are not, certain things. We made that very clear. Now, at this stage of the game, anyone that wants to keep assuming that, then what we're finding is those are excuse mechanisms, you see. And so now it's not acceptable. There's no more excuses. There's no more reasons why not to get involved. Everybody has a mother. Every Black man has a mother. So don't look at this as, oh, the women, they just do. No, look at it as your mama went through something to bring you on this planet. What was that? What was that 9 months of her carrying you? What was the labor pains that more than likely she endured in bringing you into this realm of existence? We want you to honor that. You see, we want you to honor that. So don't look at, oh, it's just a bunch of women. Let's look at the fundamentals. We're talking about raising up the mother of civilization. That's what we want people to focus on. That's why it's put in this context, so that people can't use these other distractions. Well, I'm a this, you're a that. I did it. No. Fundamentally, that's what we're talking about. Raising up the mother of civilization. Stay focused. So now, family, what we're saying is anyone that comes to us with any kind of excuses about why you can't support in some kind of way, you know what? Tell them, no, not today. We're not accepting this anymore. And this is why this movement is what it is. We are no longer accepting nonsense. We love our people, but y'all know how mother can do. Mother will love you, but she know how to spank you at the same time. And then after that, give you a big hug. Well, that's what's getting ready to happen.
Yeah, so the bottom line is that we changing things we cannot accept and will not accept.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That time is over. This is a new day. Either get with it, be without it, keep it moving. We're not trying to get anyone to do anything that they don't feel they can do or want to do. It's not that kind of party. We're not trying to convince anybody about anything beyond a certain point. You either know what time it is, or think you know, or want to know. Other than that, keep it moving. Love you, but at the same time, we're not allowing nonsense anymore. So that's the messages that need to be conveyed at this point in time.
All right. Give thanks. Okay, are we ready for share?
I'm trying. Let me see.
Come back in.
Yeah, I did. My screen is up. Hold on, let me see what's.
I'm saying, like, did you log off the entire device?
Yes. Exit minimum. Let's see. Okay. Hold on. I think I might have it now.
All right, family. With that being said, if there's any final questions or comments before we get into the presentation, please feel free to raise your hand or unmute yourself.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I just want to mention, I appreciate all what was said, but being a man now for 49 years, I just want to make a mention of this. I appreciate that you all are inviting the brothers, because that's for some brothers that's going to be a difference, because some of us are not used to that. But if you be consistent and patient, because we're going to get brothers, and brothers will get involved, but let's just keep in mind, on certain levels, brothers move slower. So if you just be consistent, we'll get the brothers and brothers will come. But you got to be patient.
Okay, Brother Adrian. So,
yes.
So I love you, and I appreciate all of what you said, and we're going to be patient. But I have to say,
okay,
brother, we're in a state of war. We have
right.
been for quite a while. MWM has done this process for 10 years, as you know. So let me just say this with all due respect and much love. At some point, when you're in a situation where you're about to be murdered, at some point, your patience have got to be based on the whole of it all. So my point is, we've done this now.
I know me and you on different levels. I understand.
But I'm saying,
because I've been involved in this 30 years myself. So yes, I do understand.
Right, but what I'm saying,
that's how I know this.
But what I'm saying is the process that we're now presenting, we've done it for 10 years. Meaning grassroots, reaching out, taking our time, and so forth. So I'm saying this. There are a lot of other groups out there. There's a lot of movements out there. We have been stagnated for 10 years waiting for things to happen. We can't do that anymore. It doesn't mean we're not going to be patient, because we, as Black women, I hate to say this, but as Black women, that's part of our nature, really. But
you're the most patient people in the world, in the world, yes.
But when anything is done to a fault, then we have to look at making some readjustments. We gave this process 10 years. And so now we got to move to the next level. So my point is, there's always going to be mechanisms and areas for anyone to fit in or to get in. We're going to always have that. We function on at least 3 different levels. But right now, we got to move forward. Because the enemies of our
we will.
So this is why I'm saying to the brothers, you as the brothers can fashion certain things the way you all see best to do. Okay?
Okay.
You, Brother Lumumba, Brother David, y'all can go ahead and do that. You can do some things the way you as Black men think you should do. We applaud it. We want you to do that. On the other hand, we got to move.
All right. And we'll be coming. Okay.
Yeah.
We're coming. All right. And you talk about the 10 years, and the brothers that you just named, we've been with you for years, correct?
Mostly, except Brother David is new, but so
okay, but so and I'm making that point to say we're coming.
All
right. It's gonna take patience, but we're coming.
All right, cool. All right.
And love y'all back.
Back at you. So the brothers, you can start holding your meetings whenever you're ready. Whenever the brothers are ready to hold their meetings, by all means, feel free to begin. Just let me know how you want to proceed so that I can assist in whatever way. And as Black men in support, the serious brothers, you can start holding your meetings. You can start your membership drives, whatever it is you'd like. Okay? Okay, this is not the way I want the screen to set up. For some reason, it wouldn't let me do just a solid screen, so I can only go with this one for now. But as you see, family, can everybody see it okay?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Again, I was trying to eliminate the top menu so that you didn't see all of that, but it wouldn't, for some reason, I don't know, something's going on with that. But anyway, this is where we're at with the Million Woman World March. We're making history/herstory today. This is Black History Month. And for those who are in Cameroon, of course, you all are not really observing Black History Month, but what we're looking at doing in the future is connecting some things, which we'll talk a little more about later. That means right now, we are getting ready to ask sisters globally, of course, nationwide, to start submitting information about the women in your community who have made a difference. So it doesn't just have to be the popular women that we're very familiar with. It can be a woman or a girl who really has done something in your community. So very soon, we're going to open up mechanisms for you to be able to submit that kind of information and data to us. This is important because the main thing that we primarily hear and see now is the stuff that other people want us to see and hear. Okay, hold on. I'm trying to, there we go. Okay, so we are the ones we've been waiting for. And we've been waiting quite a while. And so at this stage of the game, it's time to move things forward. And so with that, as Black women, when our brothers ask us, what do we want? We have to ask ourselves, what do we want? And of course, this indicates some of what not only we want, but some of what we already have. Strength, vision, tenacity, dedication. We now have to encompass this or embrace it to a greater extent. Now is our time. And don't let anybody else try to tell you different. How do we know? Well, just take a good look at the past couple of years. And if that doesn't tell you that something else got to happen, well, then nothing will. Last year, we kicked off what we call the divine resurrection. So when we talk about what are we going to do, what is needed? Well, we know what has happened in the past, both pro and con, and it's time for us to rise up. And so we call this the divine resurrection, a process or a time period that we're now in. And of course, with the Million Woman World March, it will allow us to do that. How does one do certain things? Once you talk about what needs to happen and what the problem is, the question then has to be, so how are we going to do whatever it is to change that? Well, the Million Woman World March is designed to do that. It is a mechanism. It is a key. It is an apparatus. And of course, it is not the all in all. We are not trying to say that we are, except being the largest gathering in the world of any women. We are all that. But it is a part of other things. But it is ours exclusively. This is not for any other women. This is not for women of color. This is for African women or women of African descent, or whichever way you want to define it, that makes it very clear that we come from the same mother. No matter where you live, no matter where we've lived, there is one continent that is said to be the cradle of civilization. We are identifying with that for a reason. Because once we grab hold of that, Africa is more than just a landmass, family. As in any land base, it's more to it than just, the people are there. Yes, the people are there. But when you start overstanding certain other dynamics as to why Africa as a base is so important to the world, then we begin to have a different understanding of things. And hence, this is what we're talking about. We've got to change our mindset, our way of thinking. From adversity, enslavement, colonization, etc., we are coming up from all forms of violence and abuse. And what we're now coming into a silver lining. Now, for some, that's a cliche. What does silver lining mean? Or what does it represent in a metaphor? Coming out of something that is adverse or problematic, a silver lining is something that it exemplifies, even though it was a bad situation, here's the good stuff. And that's what we're saying we're bringing forward. The silver lining in this year up to 2025. We're giving ourselves 3 years to do some accomplishing kinds of things that have never been done before. And again, we have to put it in that context, because if we're just talking about doing the same thing over and over again, then we really are crazy, because that's what is defined in many circles. When you do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result, that's a form of insanity. We want to heal. We don't want to keep being or consider ourselves being insane or dysfunctional or whatever, but we have to figure out how are we going to do that. So we're looking at building generational Black, African, diasporic sisterhood. We say sisterhood because, as you will hear us talk more, we are going to be talking about the universe. And this again is our connection to Africa, which we'll go into at another time when we start having classes for sisters who want to now deal with bringing up the mother of civilization in themselves. There's an essence in the Black woman, and that is the mother of civilization, but it has to now be ignited and brought up and raised up within us as women. And so we are now going to do that. Our focuses are, of course, holistic health, harmony, healing, and happiness. We know that psychologically, many of our women and our people really have an internal trigger of not wanting to be happy. That's right. I said it, and you all, I'm sure, know it to some degree. There are various things that have been implanted in us. And so again, when we talk about some of the problems, we have to look about how did some of that happen? We know some of the answers to that. We better, after having such greats like Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, Dr. Amos Wilson, Dr. Nathan Hare, Dr. Julia Hare, Dr. Ben, and others, if we don't kind of have some understanding about certain things by now, then shame on us, because many of them paid the price. And let me also mention for Africa, Schenck got the joke, Frantz Fanon, Stephen Biko, and others. These people gave much, some even their lives, for us to be able to have this kind of conversation today. So our goals and objectives are also very clear. We're talking about wealth and wondrous acts and actions. And again, not just wealth as many understand it. We're talking about wisdom connected to holistic wealth. So we're not just talking about money. That's not the only kind of wealth. With us, we must have wisdom, and it has to be, again, holistic. So some of what we're saying and talking about is different and also to some new, but at the same time, it's ingrained already in you. And so what MWM is now doing, again, raising up that mother of civilization. Remember, 2.5 decades ago, we planted seeds. Now it's harvest time. That means there's certain things already in you, in us. How are we going to accomplish our goals, our mission? Well, there's many ways, but to put it in a nutshell, for lack of a better terminology, we must develop independent institutions, businesses, communities, societies, and I'll say the word, nations. Nation is not just relegated to a country in the context of just land. That is not actually the real structure of a nation. Your family structure is really also a nation. And again, these are things that we'll go into at another time when we do our Poli-Sci 101 classes and other kinds of things. Okay, let me scroll down a little bit more. Right. Hold on, there we go. We already talked about raising up the mother of civilization. And again, as you can see, we connect that to the universe. A lot of things we have not been taught. As Brother David said earlier, and others, the education that most have gotten is really indoctrination. It's not education. There's many other dynamics that most have no clue about because we were not given that kind of information. Well, fortunately, in this day and age, that has changed. A lot of information is readily available, and we're going to take full positive advantage of that. So as we talked earlier, one of our key goals is to establish our own online educational institution. And again, when we met with Brother David a few days ago, we talked about one of our first components, which is to generate revenue so that sisters and brothers very soon will be able to be members in one way or another. And those who have businesses or services, you're literally going to be able to be online with your business and service connected to us with your own page. Now, Sister Naya I have to say, I give so much thanks to her because our Cameroon sisters have hung in there with us over like 3-4 years now. We had to wait until COVID came to an end or was less in our midst. But the Cameroon sisters have been on board for a good 3-4 years and have sent through Sister Celine, Sister Naya, we have already hundreds of items that our women and girls make from all over the globe, but particularly Cameroon. And so very soon you're going to be able to go to our online African women's marketplace where people will be able to purchase directly on our site a variety of goods and services, quality goods and services. Many of the goods are handmade, handcrafted, because that's what we're going to specialize in. Bags, jewelry, things of that nature. You'll be able to get genuine, authentic items online that we promote and uphold. These are some of the things that are coming. Hold on, let me scroll down again. Okay. What is needed now at this point is, and we cannot stress this enough, and those of you who are here are already on that page, we need consistency. For whatever reason, unless it's hype, a lot of our people do not want to be consistent. They want to wait until it gets all big and blown up and then, want to get involved. And that's fine. There will be a place for them. However, we're making it very clear now, if you're not prepared to get in, roll up your sleeves and put in some real work, that's kind of not what you want to keep doing. We want to now change the paradigm and make sure that people get involved because they understand the necessity and not just because of the, glitz and glamour of things. That has its place. But Black women, Black men are hard workers. That needs to be more applied to us as a people because the system is going to get its share of you. There's no question about that. But how much are we giving to ourselves as a people in building what we need to build? So again, for Black women, we keep stressing this. We are the representation of the mother of civilization, meaning it is that element in your being, no one else's. No one else's. It is in the Black woman that has that capability, characteristic, character, and so forth. And therefore, we are talking now about bringing forward the energy and the synergy of our grandmothers, notice grandmothers, sisters, daughters, etc. We're the ones, And so now worldwide, we're bringing that kind of energy, synergy together. Just think for one moment, family, what could that possibly do? To bring that kind of energy together of millions of African Black women, can anyone imagine what kind of power that is? Well, we can, and we have. With that said, we have to now develop some codes of conduct. As you all have already said very eloquently and very clearly, we have some issues and some problems, needless to say. But we also have to understand, why do we have some of that? Now, we're not blameless, meaning as a people, as we know, but I refuse to accept or allow anyone else, as far as I'm concerned, to think that this happened to the extent that it is now just because we were negligent or we made it be as such. No, that is not the case. And we can prove that. So again, the majority of our dysfunction, behavior, and so forth has a history of violations of us as a people, all across the board, in every kind of way. And this is why you see this sister in chains, because even though there's a physical enslavement, we now know that because of emancipation, or in Africa, the removal of so-called colonization, there's still some enslavement going on mentally and spiritually. Well, we figured out how to combat that. And in doing so, to raise up our women and our girls in every way. And one of the things that you will see as we now prepare for the Million Woman World March, it is the bringing forward of the Year of the Black Girl, 2025. Why? Sister Kimberly said it earlier. Sister Dawn said it earlier. What's happening with these young girls? And what's going to help heal them? What's going to help raise them up? We got to do more than just talk to them. We got to do more than just have some programs, because that's not working. It is more going on now with these young girls than ever before. We're talking about rage. We're talking about all kinds of madness that we never saw before. And so what are we going to do? We're going to keep having programs that we know are not working? We better do something a little bigger than that and a little greater. So why not give them a whole year to start with, that we're focusing on them, and they know this, that our focus is on you. And this is what we're going to do. You see, this is different. And this is not a government initiative. This is Black women, African women. And with this year of the Black girl, that same year will kick off the decade for African people, which we'll share with you later. But in this year of 2025, we want to begin to take young girls to Africa and to other places. So this is why the Million Woman World March is not just an event. It's a tool. It's an apparatus. And we're saying from abuse to being angelic, from ghetto to being goddesses. These are the mindsets and the concepts that we're now bringing forward for our girls, for our women, for our people. The brothers mentioned earlier about the disconnect, the disrespect. Again, we have to figure out how we're going to change that. So again, with codes of conduct, it enables us to focus on what are the principles or the characteristics are we going to strive for. We're going to talk more about that later. And this will be some special sessions as well. Again, we have to make sure that we do not continue to operate the way other people have designated us to operate. That means, again, other people's philosophies, ideologies, the programming that fosters domination and control. Again, going back to what some of the brothers said, Brother David, about, you know, men being from Mars and women being from Venus and all of that. Again, we're able to put some of that aside when we can say, who and what is the enemy? We need to identify that. Who and what is the real enemy? Now, some will say the devil, some will say the white man. Whichever one you want to go with it is fine with me. But we need to be real clear. We are our own worst enemy in certain ways, but we also have a common, unnatural enemy that is applicable to each and every one of us, whether you live in the US or in Africa. And how do we know this? Just look at our history. This is Black History Month. Just take a good look. What has happened to us as a people, we did not do to one another. We did not go and get African people and drag them all over an ocean and then dominate them for 250 years of brutal slavery. So don't keep talking about what we did to each other. Let us handle our own business. That's our business. Let us handle that. But at the same time, let's not dismiss some other realities. Presently, for sisters who are interested in international work, starting next week, we will begin holding sessions for those sisters who are interested in engaging in certain kinds of international interactions. Next month is Women's History Month, and there are 2 weeks of sessions at the United Nations. We want to be prepared. For those sisters who are interested in such things, there are what's known as side parallel sessions. Those side parallel sessions will help to introduce you or become better acquainted with how other realms operate on a national and international level. So we are introducing now the Commission on the Status of African Women, North America, a body that is under the MWM umbrella that will now engage with our women on a global level based on us here being in North America. Now, other commissions will be developed, but for right now, again, we have to departmentalize things. So there's some specific things that is applicable to North America, just like there's specific things applicable to Central America or to Europe. We have to departmentalize things. So for right now, we will form the Commission on the Status of African Women. For those sisters who think you are interested in that, indicate it in the chat, and we will begin to start sending you information. What will it do? That commission will examine documents, reports, and other kinds of things that is applicable to Black women, African women in North America. That means on a local, national, and international level. We have to be prepared to do not only business, but to represent. And who's going to represent us here in North America if we don't? And this is what has happened thus far. The representation for Black women in United Nations and in other international circles is limited at best. And definitely they ain't talking about no grassroots. As Sister Celine mentioned, we are very versatile, we are very capable. That means most that function into certain arenas do not function in other arenas. We are holistic. That means we will function in them all. Again, the Global Africana Women's Power Think Tanks is the other unit that goes into effect starting next week to get us ready for March. The think tanks will focus on specific issues, such as we've talked a lot about mental health. We've talked a lot about education. Well, the think tanks will focus specifically on those areas. And the sisters who will be in those think tanks will have the responsibility to do the work that's relevant to that. And again, we'll go more into breaking it down for you as we proceed. Right now, membership is going to be very important. Okay, this is the wrong statistics here, but you get the gist. You know, we're looking to have at least 2.5 million members worldwide by the end of 2025. Sisters, if we can't do that, I can tell you a lot of other stuff is not going to happen. We can very simply do this. And so we will and we shall. With the Million Woman World March, we're able to do this. Remember, the Honorable Marcus Garvey, for those who are familiar with the Honorable Marcus Garvey, he had 1 million members worldwide in 1930 something. Now, if the Honorable Marcus Garvey and the Honorable Amos Jacques Garvey could do that almost 100 years ago, you don't think we can do 1 million plus members with all of this technology and other stuff? And I'm telling you, if we can't, then the other stuff that we've been talking about, it just is not real. But we must be independent. This is one of the other reasons. And so very shortly, you will hear us talk about, starting on February the 28th, our new membership drives. The new membership drives will start at merely $1. So we're going to make it very easy. But $1 from 1 million members represents, of course, $1 million. So that when we talk about having our own schools, developing our own micro loans for businesses, developing our own publications, Brother David already has not only a template, he literally has a publication. How are we going to support our own if we don't have our own money? And so again, this is part of the mission for MWM 25, not only in terms of its 25-year anniversary, but our agenda. The year 2025, we need to see results. And so we're obligated to be able to show this is what we've accomplished within the next 2 to 3 years. By the end of 2025, we need to show some results. So this is why, family, we are kind of putting in this time and effort. This has not been done before. And for those who tend to do these kinds of things, I can guarantee you they are not, for the most part, in the best interest of us as a whole. And we will go more into that at another time. So I'm going to stop there, and we're going to open up the floor for any questions, comments, thoughts, and then we're going to get ready to close out.
All right. Give thanks. Excellent presentation. Yes, with that being said, I want to open up the floor. Any comments or questions from what has been presented with the presentation, the PowerPoint, and also based on any of the questions or commentary that we had previously. If there's any questions or comments, please feel free to click the button to raise your hand, or you can unmute yourself.
Sister Manera, as you indicated before that we are at war, time is of essence. I just wanted to say thank you for the wonderful presentation, the agenda to move us forward. And to the listening audience, if folks are not talking about something independent, agenda, a well thought out agenda, and a plan of action, in this day and time, since we are at war and have been at war for so many years, for so long, but they just upped the ante on us. If folks ain't talking about agenda and creating opportunities independently for our people, then what are they talking about? Then why are we listening to folks? I mean, so at the end of the day, we have to build with people who have something tangible who have a plan of action to move things forward. And that's what I have to say is that folks like who are listening, to the listening audience, to the folks listening on Facebook, join a movement, join, do something. The time is now, because we at war. And I yield. That's all I have to say.
All right. Give thanks. I want to echo that with indeed, a lot of people, are doing a lot of discussions and debating online. A lot of it has no action connected to it. So I just want to say to everyone who may be listening in the wide audience, those listening online, be a part of the solution, right? It's one thing to talk about the problems, but if you're not actively being involved in the solution, then it's just fanfare, okay? And so, be more than woke. We have this woke, new societal, ideology, that, stemmed from the Black consciousness movement, but now it's become very arbitrary, right? A lot of things and a lot of people are considered, quote unquote woke. And I would say that, go beyond being woke or being conscious or being aware of what's going on and become active, get activated, okay? Because other than that, again, it's fanfare. All right. So with that being said, also I just wanted to put another context onto what we were discussing as far as who the enemy is. And so, the enemy can be of all likes, right? All kinfolk is not skinfolk, right? All skinfolk is not kinfolk, I should say, right? And so just because a person looks like you, talks like you, does not mean that they're for you or about you, right? And so we have to look at the enemies from without as well as the enemies from within. So within that, the enemy should put a better context on it besides, terminologies that we're familiar with. The enemy is colonialism, neocolonialism, fascism, imperialism, terrorism, racism, classism, anti-life, death culture, right? That is the enemy. That's what we need to combat against on every front, okay? So I just wanted to put that out there and share that with the family. All right, give thanks. If there are any further questions or comments, please feel free. Oh, Sister Kimberly, like you had something to say, but you're muted. Unmute yourself.
I'm actually talking, my mouth is moving, but that's it. That was powerful. I love that, brother. I will like to say that, what I'm going through on Facebook is that they blocked me. A lot of stuff that I was posting about what my big sis Filet and all the women that are involved and men that are involved in what's going on, they blocked me now. If I say anything, Facebook is now like word sensitive. I get blocked an hour, 8 hours, 24 hours. Right. So I'm like leaning away from Facebook. I just post on my creator story page and I kind of keep it simple now because they're monitoring me. And that's all good too. Right. But I'm going to kind of pledge the membership, and that's something that I really need to get working on. And I have talked to my big sis Filet about that. And I got to get more focused on that in terms of membership, because I got a lot of sisters that need to come on board. I've only bought one so far, and she kind of disappeared on me because she's doing stuff in Williamsport. That's powerful, by the way. I'm proud of her. But I'm going to get focused on that. And thank you for what everyone has said on here tonight. True leadership, I embrace it. Thank you so much.
All right, give thanks and thank you. Thank you for being here. And thank you for your additions to the conversation and to the community. All right, give thanks once again. If there's any other further questions or comments, please feel free.
Yes, this is David Murphy again. And I just want to give a shout out to all of y'all who's putting this podcast or Zoom call together, because information is so powerful. And when we connect with one another, I don't care if it's 2, 3, 10, 20, that's power, that's unity. And but I just want to share this because not being self-service, but this, I'm on a mission. I've been on a mission for 50-something years. And my mission is to set the captives free, set us free, Black melanated people. And I have quite a few services. First of all, I have a nationwide and beyond Black newspaper, and it's by us and it's for us. It's solution oriented. So if anybody on here wants to go to the next level or expand your territory, I strongly suggest you give me a call, but I strongly suggest you give me a call if you don't want to do anything to pay for any services I provide, because I'm a wealth of information. And I've been blessed. I have gifts that God has given me. And of course, the gift is to be given. And my mission is to assist you. So help me to help you so we can help ourselves. And if you have a service, and sometimes, sometimes you just don't know what the next step is, or who to go to, or who to contact. Sometimes God put us together for specific reasons. And we have to share with one another, information with one another. And if you call me, and if I could be of any assistance to you, I'm not talking about going into your pocket. I'm talking about giving information that could be valuable to you. Please do so by any means. Thank you.
All right, much appreciated. And if you could make sure that you put your information on the chat so people can follow up with you on that, give thanks, good brother David. Yes, is there any follow-up?
Yes, hello.
Yes, give thanks, brother Adrian.
Yes, this is Sister Dot. I would like to say that it's time. We have to do what we have to do. You just can't sit anymore. They're looking at us, programming us, and say, oh, they're not going to get together because they're too fearful. They don't know what to do. When we got a benchmark, we got a plan, we have to execute. If we're going to be here tomorrow, we have to do what we have to do today. Not just us, but bring our friends and our children and our nieces and nephews too. We have to get up. We have to, this is the time to say whether we disappear off the face of the earth or whether we make this earth the way God wanted it to be, which was peaceful. We got to move. That's all I wanted to say.
I say. All right, give thanks, Sister Dottie. Thank you. Thank you for your contributions as well. Brother Adrian.
Yes, I just want to say that to Brother David Murphy and all in the chat room who are giving this wealth of information, my number is 225-571-2274, 225-571-2274, and I look forward to growing with all the individuals. And to Empress again, we will get the men. We will get the men. We coming.
All right, my brother. Well, we're waiting and we're looking forward to it. But as I said, we're making proper preparations for those that do not know. I'm literally in conversations with folk that can help us put together our security agency. I plan to have my own personal one, but there's going to also be one that is for MWM that we own and operate as a sister unit. This again is not only something that creates revenue, but it also creates training and other kinds of things. And so I'm in consultancy with different folk who either already have their own agency or have participated in one to help, help us to navigate in developing our own security and investigation agencies. This is something that will be national, ultimately, just like with our child care. I'm in consultancy with several people who all have their own child care facilities. Sister Nicole was on last week. She has her own child care services, schooling, where she provides, I think it's from birth, from first month up. the point is we must have our own everything. And so we're focusing on making certain that we have the information and also the training that goes with having our own. So again, this service in the development of our own societies, our movement, but also in terms of community development and nation building. People who will not educate their own children certainly cannot move forward realistically. So we've looked at these things very carefully. And when we do next month, we'll be doing here what we call the A Million Black Women Rising in Indaba 1. Indaba is translated into being a great meeting. That's what Indaba represents, a great meeting, a grand meeting. And we'll be coming together next month at the end of the month to begin to put other pieces in place. We'll be talking about how are we going to put together our own child care services, our own educational services, because we need it for ourselves, but these are also revenue streamers as well, to develop our own curriculums, things of that nature. We're no longer depending on other people. Sister Kimberly, of course, has skills and talents. Sister Dottie has skills and talents. We are going to take these various skills and talents. That's why when Brother Lumumba asks, what is your area of expertise? Again, we're not talking about it from the very Eurocentric way. We want to see how we can take these goods and services and begin to transform them into lucrative other forms of not only information and education, but also liberation in the context of financial development. You see, so this is why we say holistic. This is all encompassing. And now with Brother David on board, we were able to market. And as Sister Kimberly just said, we already know that fake book and these other things, whenever they want to mess with us, they can and will. I've been in jail before on fake book. So, you know, again, we're not depending on that. We'll use these things, but we're not going to be depending on these things. So again, we're developing the other tools that we know can help distribute and disseminate our information ourselves. And lastly, family, it's up to you all now to spread the word. You have to start putting the word out that this is happening, it is coming. If folks just do that, it will grow and develop. We've seen this happen before. Lastly, how we're going to make it grow and develop, starting very soon, we'll begin to put information in the beauty salons, the barber shops, and the other locations that deals with what we call the BBB club. Beauticians, braiders, barbers, and cosmetologists. We're going to start putting our flyers in those locations here in various cities. Why? Because we know that that's word of mouth. We're not going to be depending on everything else that most do. We're going to depend on each other. We know that if you put some information in the barbershop, they're going to talk about it. Same thing in the beauty salon. They're going to talk about it. You see, so we already know how to reach our people. So we're putting this out there to you all, because again, once you start getting the information, if you just post it up somewhere, and not just necessarily on Facebook or Instagram, do that too, but right in your neighborhood, at your church, at your supermarket, things like that. That's grassroots. And it's very important, believe me, in the big scheme of things, in the big picture, it is very important. Take the information directly to the masses.
All right, indeed, give thanks. And Brother Adrian, if you could repeat that number one more time again for me.
225-571-2274.
57227. Okay, got you. Okay, that number is in the chat now. 225-571-2274. That's Brother Adrian. You can connect with him. Okay. All right. All right. So with that being said, if there's any other final questions or comments, any closing remarks or thoughts, please feel free to share that. Is there any final questions or comments? Any closing thoughts on If
Is
not,
there
then we're getting ready to close
Is
out.
there any part of the presentation that anyone needs some clarity about?
Hello.
Yes, Sister Naya.
I want to thank Brother David so much for joining us. I think this is about the second time coming for our meeting. I want to encourage him that he should also encourage other men to join us because we cannot work alone without the men. I want to thank everybody that was here this, is it afternoon or evening? I want to pray that God will help us to succeed because on our own, we cannot do it, but with God, we are going to succeed in whatsoever thing that million women march want to achieve. God will be our director and will help us. Thank you very much. See you next week. Stay blessed.
All right, give thanks. I say much appreciated. And thank you as well.
And sidebar family, because we are who we are that force, that energy. The Most High, the Creator, whichever you wish to call it, is with us. We've already demonstrated that by bringing 2.5 million. The point is that spirit in you, that's what needs to now manifest. You within us, you have that element, that spirit of what we call God. It's in you, it's in us. So now what we need to do is bring it forward. That's what the call is about. That's what we are now obligated to do. We've been given the blessings. We've been given the capability. We now have to bring it forward. Whatever we believe, whatever we think, all of that now is up to us to put it in the manifestation form because it's already within each one of you.
All right. Give thanks, much appreciations. Okay, if there's no further questions or comments, we're getting ready to close this meeting out for this afternoon/evening for those in other areas. All right. So with that being said, I want to give thanks once again, family. Give thanks to the Most High Creator, Creatress. Thank you to the ancestors, to the elders, those who have shed blood, sweat, and tears for us, paved the way, allowing us to be here today. Thank you for your time, energy, and effort. Thank you for your dedication, determination, and discipline. All right. For myself, it's freedom or death. For us as a people, I would say, if we don't unify, we will surely die. Okay, it's time for unification. All right, education, edification. All right, and with that being said, family, I want to say strategize, organize, and mobilize. All right, the struggle continues. Alutua continue. All right, and Pomoja to Descender, together we will win. Peace and love, family.